So, like you said, we're going to just go through this real fast. Not real fast. We're going to do quick surveys and just getting the points so we can do the data side of the treatment stuff. Our goal here is to get the people who haven't sprayed much more comfortable. So, especially with the what are we spraying and why, because that's, I think, the hardest thing to transfer. I don't know how to tell you how I learned what works with what, how the chemicals work, other than you just like eventually figure it out. But I think that's the biggest thing that we want to share with you guys, is to start getting you guys in the direction of understanding those decisions and when to make them. So whether you guys are doing the treatments yourself or hiring contractors to do them, you need to understand all the rates and chemicals and why, so you can tell them to do it the right way. So that's kind of our goal, my goal with this. So we're gonna go up this way. We're gonna try and get a little further away from all them. And we just need to find 3 separate areas to go the 3 different methods. So they can be all right next to each other. We just need to kind of map out 3 different points with anything, honeysuckle, any woody that you can find in here. So I know we said there's a lot of buckthorn and honeysuckle and other stuff. Obviously the knotweed's over there, so we're gonna do that at the end. How many of you guys have done your knotweed injections?
I've never done one.
I know you cut.
No, we do injections also.
Oh, but you prefer cutting and filling, right?
I think it kills better.
As long as
But
you have a place to
You have
dispose.
to have a place to put it, yeah.
So we don't inject very much at all. It takes too much time. But that site's small enough that it shouldn't take too long to do that one. So I'm gonna let you guys head that way, and we're gonna find a good place to do these treatments really fast. So we literally walked it here yesterday and stopped. So let's go up this way and see if we can find something to spray. When you map your area, why are you mapping your areas? So why do I care about the area that we're gonna spray today? Yeah, so what do you do? So if I say it's a half acre, what do you do with that information? Because it's something my crew never gets. Like, no matter how many times I beat it in their head, I can't get them to understand. The idea of taking... Yeah, so before you mix, you should be doing that math. So if I know I have a half acre, a quarter acre, and I know my max application rate is whatever per acre, I need to do the math to figure out how many gallons can I actually spray, or how many backpacks can I spray before you go start the site. Because they would rather just go spray first and then be like, oh shit, we went over. Well, yeah, because you guys didn't plan ahead.
Do you ever come near to the
Milestone all the time.
You do?
Because you can only use like
14 ounce an acre.
For the
Yeah.
whole year.
Because a lot of times
I thought it was 8 ounces per acre.
it's 7 ounces per acre, or 14 if you're spot treating and leaving half the acre left untreated. So they're considered spot applications. Because if you go by MDARD's new rules, it's 365 days, not treatment year. So if I sprayed what is it? If I sprayed August 15th last year and I go today, last year's number still counts with my 14th. So that's when I run into most of my issues.
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that.
Okay, so in theory, we're gonna map this area. So let's just, since I don't have a data sheet and I don't have an iPad, let's just look at our 3 zones. So we're gonna foliar spray, we're gonna cut stump, and we're gonna basal bark. So how many of you guys have done all 3? Okay, so this will be one of our areas. So spread out and find 2 more areas like this that have a handful of plants so we can do these treatments on. So for these sites, we obviously already know what we're spraying because it's what we brought. But if we wouldn't have brought stuff, like what would you guys use, or how would you find that information on what to spray here?
Best management practices.
Like the state of Michigan guides that have.
But that's like 8 species, right? So outside of those 8 species, what do you guys do?
I use the MIPIN treatment tracker, or the MIPIN treatment database. Thank you.
Or you call me. You haven't called me in a while. I'm gonna give this back to you before I unroll the whole thing. So is this an issue for you guys, or is this something that Nick and I think is an issue that isn't really an issue about figuring out what to spray where and rates and methods?
No, it's an issue, I would say. Because even like within my SISMA, which has several natural resource management departments that do different things and have different opinions about what's effective and not, we've already talked about potentially sitting down and trying to maybe not, we're not going to all agree, but at least we could agree these are possibilities.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say there's a lot of conflicting information out there, and especially with the public, that's a lot of the trouble we have sometimes too, because at least for us, we're not treating it ourselves, and contractors are telling them different things, which may or may not be good things. So we're trying to filter through all that and figure out which ones are actually ones that they should do or not.
And you guys, does everyone tell people, like if a landowner calls you, do you tell them rates and methods, or do you tell them where to go to find it?
If they seem
I'll
interested,
send them to
some of them
somewhere.
want to do it themselves, or at least are thinking about whether they could do it themselves, and some of them are like, no, I just want to hire someone to do it, so it depends.
Most of
And
mine
you're
want
big
a
on telling
contract.
people and empowering them to do their own.
I do, and not only that, we'll go there. We'll send a person there to jumpstart it with them. We'll work alongside them for an hour or so.
Because I hate putting out chemical information. I hate telling people. I hate emailing back, mix this and this at this rate. Because then I don't know where that email goes. I don't know.
So
if
we
they're gonna
kind of play it by ear. By you talk to a person and you think, can this person handle this information? And sometimes we've called that wrong, but usually you can kind of tell. We deal with a lot of farmers, so they know their stuff.
do. Yeah, but sometimes they're the worst.
I'm
gonna-
strong.
Yeah, I'm gonna mix it hotter and put diesel
Yeah.
fuel in it, and it's
Right.
gonna be better. And
Well, they do, or they say, or I don't even have to wear gloves because blah blah blah, and it's like, wear gloves.
I
Tordon
think
kills
they're
it all.
Oh my god, yeah. $1 for every time someone's gonna put Tordon and diesel fuel and set the ditch on fire. So, all right. So, if there's ways that like Nick and I or others, Vicky, can help continue to like provide that information to you guys on what to spray where and how to like guide people in making those decisions or the time of years and stuff, let us know, because I think it would be helpful if we could find a way to put it on paper, but I don't know necessarily how to do that.
Well, to me, the most helpful, and it wouldn't have to be something we distributed, but would just be like these are not like you should not use X thing. That would be. It may be that it's never that clear cut, and so there's
It's never that.
and you're never
clear
going to
cut.
get people to
Yeah.
agree because
And there's experts that even through MSU Extension,
Yeah.
we have a guy, he recommends
you different
chemicals
things.
that I'm not comfortable handling, but
Yeah.
they'll kill stuff, and maybe for some people that's the right
Yeah.
answer. So I really think what you do, like if I'm going to treat something new, if I suddenly had swallowwort show up, I'd call everybody who I knew who has dealt with swallowwort and find out what kind of efficacy they're seeing with what treatments they're doing, and then you gather all that information and you have to kind of make that choice for yourself. You know, and then you start running your own experiment. So then after the first year, then that's when you start to do the adaptive management, you know. You try something that seems like a good idea. And then next year when you monitor, so our crew, when they go out, since everybody's a certified applicator, I feel like they are already empowered to make some decisions on their own. So I don't necessarily tell them, you know, our crew leads, you guys have to use this percent, you have to do this treatment in this site. I tell them, this is what we did last year. This is what our density and area was last year for this. I want them to analyze it because I'm not going to all these sites to monitor. And then I want them to say, okay, did the treatment last year work? Should I adjust it? So our field crew leads are really responsible for steering that adaptive management in a lot of ways.
I agree with you on the monitoring stuff too. I just think for like our part of the state that we're in, it's going to be a problem like for several years because none of us are at the level where we have a strike team where we're doing that much treatment. So not that we can't do, and we should try to do, you know, before and after treatment if contractors are doing it or other people are doing it, but it's not going to be as straightforward as we can collect our own data. So we're going to have to rely on other people's data, which may be from farther away. And that's just the practical situation that we're
with the
in.
contractor, it's harder for them.
We can't ever
to-
tell for sure if we know what we told them they have to use, but
Yeah, and they're
We're
not
not
going to
out
go and be
there,
like, oh, this
so-
didn't work this year. We're going to adjust our rates because it's whatever you tell me
Yeah.
to spray. I'm going to go spray.
Exactly.
They're not going to ask questions.
so it's a bit of a different, yeah.
Would you advise other SISMA coordinators to explicitly not rely on a contractor to tell you, you know, those rates?
Well, I don't think that's what Eric meant. We're usually telling the contractor what we want from them, but we are not on the site the day they're mixing to know for sure that they're doing what we say.
To answer your question, no, I wouldn't. I would not listen to most of the contractors on what to spray where.
Yeah, like we put that information out in our RFP, but just to know for sure if that's exactly what they did, or was there a little bit mixed over of something else that they just decided to mix in with their stuff for today because it was easier to not drain it out and clean the whole tank. That kind
It's
of
just
thing.
we're never going to be able to get that direct data quite as easily at the current situation. So
So something other. So in some RFPs we put things like you know, we want a GPS track of when your sprayer was on and when it was off, right? Is that something that could be baked into an RFP?
We have that in ours.
With the treatment
We want
information,
the treatment
you mean?
data, shape files of everywhere they treated. That they're supposed to give back at the end of the.
That's what we're doing too, but it still is always some
Really gotta hold
combination
their
of they're
money
doing it
back
in the
from
field,
do it.
plus they're doing some stuff later in the office, so.
So are
The
they sites
accountability
not
portion.
accessible?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't
To
know
you?
what.
What do you mean? No,
sites
I
that
can
you
go.
contact.
I could go to them. I just mean,
We did it all.
so
Here's your
I
shape
mean,
files
we
back.
could and we should do
Yeah.
that, like
Oh,
before and
that's
after, based off of what we think they're using. That would give us some data, but we're doing that at such a small scale that it's not going to be enough data to be very useful in the short term. Like we're treating this year, under the SISMA leadership, we're treating 1 knotweed site, 2 swallowwort sites, you know, maybe 1 frog bit site. So it's just not enough data to be super useful the way you're talking about.
Yeah, but that's how we started too. I was the strike team and everything else. So yeah, we had like 3 sites, and it was just because people kept calling me. So finally I'm like, this is stupid. I'm just gonna get a backpack sprayer. This lady's driving me nuts.
But you got to keep those rotations going and switch out chemicals.
Do you think? I know I'm totally in agree with switching out to not have the plants build any resistance to it. But what about like just spiking it rather than changing it completely? If you were short on resources, like you use your rodeo and spike it with, you know, whatever extra other class, as long as they're allowed to be combined.
Spiking it by mixing a
Yeah.
second chemical in.
Yeah.
I don't mix, but a lot like one of my partners, they mix everything. They'll never spray a single chemical. They always mix on all their tanks. I think it increases your cost because they're not, instead of
So,
they're
like,
not
if you weren't
decreasing
going
rates.
From cheap rodeo to really expensive, the new one you keep saying. I want to say Vaseline, but it's not Vasol. If they were allowed to be mixed rather than switching all the way to the $300 one, you just spike the glyphosate with.
You can. I don't. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking mixes. I just don't have them do it as of yet. But I don't think there's a problem with it. I think it's better than using the same chemical over and over again. But some people, all they do is mix. I don't know if you mix.
We do some.
I think it gets expensive because a lot of people don't change their mix rate. So
Well,
if
usually
I say,
you lower your rodeo in half if you're
You
going to
should,
add,
but-
Yeah, exactly.
you know, garland
It's
freeze.
to get that. You're not completely. It's like the cheaper way of switching over chemicals. You're just using a little bit of
Yeah.
that newer, more expensive one, and less of whatever else you're using.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like it'd be cheaper. It's just it doesn't have the same.
Effectiveness.
Right, we're
Is that,
talking about
yeah.
IPM, right? This is integrated pest management. We're
Yeah.
trying to reduce
Resistance
build up
and
of
that, yeah.
resistance. And so if you continue to use the same first chemical that you started with, but you're just spiking it with something else, the question would be: is that as effective at reducing resistance as completely switching to a new
Right,
chemical?
because it would be cheaper, and you know you could use those resources for it.
but that's why Nick and I
I
kept
don't
going back to financial versus ecological decisions and like, can I afford to do what I want to do, or do I have to pick a cheaper or alternative option that works but fits in my budget to do it? Because I spent a lot of money on chemical, like a lot. I paid a couple $1,000 the other day for chemical, and that like
What do you
half
think
that's
your
already gone.
annual for your SISMA, do you know, for
Oh,
chemical?
with stupid HWA stuff, I'm like 75,000.
That's sick.
But for my
For-
other work, probably 3,000 or 4,000, and that's with their cheaper prices.
That's like 3 times what we're.
But I can't keep it in my cabinet long enough. But I have 3 different offices spraying, 3 or
Yeah,
4.
you got a
3.
hot mess down there.
It's a mess.
And if you're working with private landowners and you're switching up the treatments, have you tried to educate them about like, hey, it's going to cost more this year because we're going to use this other chemical? Or
We're going to talk about it a little tomorrow, but I just started charging landowners this year. It's the first time I've ever asked for money. So, no, we're flat fees based on area right now. That's how we're doing it.
Really?
Yeah,
We're going to talk about that tomorrow.
yeah. You'll hear my successful failure. All right, let's head down there. I'm hoping they're all gone now. So for now, we're just gonna grab. I have that Michigan blend, and it's been sitting in my cabinet, and I want it gone, so that's what we're using today. So it's Garland 4. It's like a 25% Garland 4 mixed in basil oil with dye, already pre-mixed in a single jug, so we don't actually have to mix. All right, go for it. It's fine.
It's like constant or just
So
like
yeah,
a spot?
so back off a little bit. You're gonna don't throw it. You're just gonna kind of miss all of it. So you don't want to be into it because you want to hit all these leaks. And if I put my thing all through it, I'm only gonna hit certain ones.
Okay.
So it has a nice wide fan. So start at the top and just kind of paint.
So you just kind of hold it down while you're doing it, and you keep
Do I
that
have
in
to
the
keep
way.
pumping while I'm doing
And
it?
pumping every once in a while, yeah.
with like a little twisty motion.
So keep moving. So you see how you're dripping on all these?
Yeah.
So you're gonna spray till wet, but you don't need it to drip.
Okay.
So like you see some of those other ones how they're wet, but it's not dripping off. You
Yeah.
have good coverage. So you're going for more like that than where some of those upper ones are dripping.
So walk.
Well, or just keep moving your arm. Yeah. So then again, so stop again. So and then we want to hit those ones back there. So yeah, you don't want to go too far this way because you still have to do it on this side and you don't want to walk through. So you can see.
Normally the blue just
So if you go all the way back and then work your way.
You gotta really use a good amount.
There must have been something bad about the purple dye and you can't get it.
You.
Bad about it?
They had red for a while too.
But red, you can still get red basil oil, but that's for like,
You can get red dye too.
oh really? That might be good.
It's like blood red.
The front stuff too?
Yep, and then you can get in the front stuff.
Technically, I really think you should have a face shield on. I do.
Vicky and I are balancing each other out.
Goggles or a face shield, because you're like, what a... Right? Well,
This guy.
especially with this Garland 3A.
All right, good. You're doing good. All right, so we gotta go find more plants to spray the rest of this out.
There's more down here.
There's more down there.